You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey, it's Ka-Pow.
It's Bad Albert.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. We're winging it tonight. Glad to have y'all. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Oh, I'm Seth. I'm Mushmouth or whatever his name is.
So, Cliff, you're not going to make it to the Galactic Star Cruiser Motel, are you?
Oh my gosh.
I'm a little distraught about that myself because I
were we all just waiting, hoping someday the price would go down, or
I was kind of, I didn't know if the price would ever go down, but I thought I might splurge sometime, and do it. It looked cool enough. I would like to try it. I was like, you know what, just me and Nick, just freaking do it. And then now there's no chance.
No chance. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could still go. I mean, we have the summer, but yes, Disney.
Well, I assume they're not booked up through the summer.
No. That's why it's closing.
No.
Yeah,
I thought people were going.
No. They've been. There was just recently a big push where they were giving free partial trips to a bunch of vloggers and media.
You get a portion,
pretty much, for free.
That is your favorite movie poll. It works every time.
It's good. It works.
I like it.
Never gets old.
If I could use my Punky Brewster impression more often, I'd do that.
We'll say.
But that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Wow, that threw me off. Yeah. So yes, they're the final voyage of the Galactic Star Cruiser, the Halcyon, September 28th through the 30th. So that's it. After that, it's closing their 100 rooms after a year and a half. And
so
all that.
What kind of investment did this take to get off the ground? Like a decade of R&D and building and planning and Imagineering.
Yeah.
And it's only been a year? Just
a year and a half. It will be. So
gosh, all those artists and thinking of all those outfits, cool stuff like Soleil Moonfry would wear.
Nah.
Come on.
No. Come on. Gotta be better than that.
It's a very Star Wars name. So
wait, there wasn't one of these in California, right?
No.
Were there ever plans to be?
Not really. One of the biggest clues we should have seen was when suddenly the Mandalorian was walking around Galaxy's Edge because he's already been in California for a while as a walk around character, and they said they couldn't do that in Florida because of the Star Cruiser experience, because it had to be set at a certain time point in between episodes.
Imagine being so pedantic a nerd, you spend $6,000. You're like, wait a minute, this does not line up to the continuity.
So it's weird because in so many ways I'm not surprised this happened or is happening. I'm not big on mandatory fun. Like, I'm a little too introverted to, I think, do this experience the way it should be done. Like, I would not enjoy just being on stage the entire time, trying to play a part. That's not my jam right there. Which was the biggest drawback for me on the whole theory of the experience is, you are in this world, which sounds awesome. But until I don't want to be in that world for maybe a minute, I don't want to play a character all the time, or maybe at all. So attendance has been pretty terrible here lately. They announced they were canceling trips, or, because it functions like a cruise line, the experience of it, and they threw out a bunch of discounts.
Right.
That was their next step to try and entice people to come do it. But they weren't big enough. I mean, they were discounts, yeah, but still you're paying a premium price. And I get it. I understand why it's a premium price. There are the actors that are having to play these roles and wear makeup and masks and all that stuff for, long shifts every day. And they are equity actors. So I get that, why it's so expensive, that, you have to staff this thing 24 hours a day. But yeah, I think overall it was just too much to overcome.
I mean, yeah, people pay money to go to fantasy camp to play baseball for a week, rock and roll camp to do, I'm going to learn to play drums or whatever. So, like, it's not crazy. This isn't something brand new, they're just trying to see if people would do. I don't know that there's enough crossover between people with that amount of disposable income who can do that for a weekend,
right? And
people who want to.
Throwing a celebrity baseball camp for a week or two during the summer is different than doing it all year. And so, so I don't know what happens now. I don't know if I think they'll just tear it down, which is a huge waste of theming. They spent so much, and it's cool, but again, like, my wife would not go and do this and stay in a room in a hotel that has no windows, and you're just looking out a port that's a TV screen of space, like
that is claustrophobic.
Yeah, she would not do that, and a lot of people will not. That's not appealing to them. So I'm not surprised it failed. But I'm kind of.
I would do it. I think it sounds cool.
So many people love it and did it and had.
I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but I would do it as part of my vacation. What is it? It's what, 2 days or 3 days?
Yeah,
like,
it's basically 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that, and then have the rest of your week to do the rest of the stuff. Like,
but again, if you're paying $6,000 for 2 night stay, and then you're going to
it'd have to be it'd have to. I would have had to save up for a while or whatever. Yeah. Or if it was a lot cheaper, it definitely would sound so neat. The idea of I love the idea of like doing that. I mean, I've watched the videos. So it's awesome. So it's just cool to like act like you're traveling there, get out,
the food, everything is on theme.
Yeah.
Having those interactions.
Some of those actors were amazing.
Yeah, they absolutely were. The only thing that, and from the get-go, I kind of felt this way. Like, part of what this thing was is what we were supposed to get in Galaxy's Edge in the park. There were supposed to be roaming around characters. There were supposed to be droids wheeling around freely.
And like a story that followed you.
Right.
Based on your choices, that kind of thing.
Yeah, how what happened when you piloted the Falcon on the ride. And all of that was supposed to work into a story. And they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And so, I am a little, I guess, hopeful that maybe they'll take some of that stuff and eventually incorporate it more into the land. But as far as that building goes, I mean, it's built specifically where it is, tucked behind Galaxy's Edge. I don't know what else they could do with it other than try and, there's only 100 rooms. So even if they said, well, it's going to reopen, it's still going to be Star Wars, it's just not going to have all the interactive actors and all that stuff, I still don't know that works. So
I don't know. Whatever it is, going to have to be cheaper.
Well, we said Batu or bust, and they chose bust.
It's a good callback.
It wasn't our fault; it's their fault. We're not too poor to go. They're not good enough to go. All right, we are going to talk some more Star Wars at the end here. We're going to wrap up our coverage of The Mandalorian. Ended a couple weeks ago, so stay tuned for that. Before we get there, there's been some really good TV debut in the last couple weeks, so we're going to talk a little TV first.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Marsha!
Well, something ain't right, yo. Yo, son, come on, yo, Omar's coming, man.
I'm Prison Mike. You know why they call me Prison Mike?
Beavis, please sit down.
Are you threatening me? I am Cornholio.
First sign a youngster's going wrong, you got to nip it in the bud. Nip it.
And I'm sitting there with Woody, and I turn to him and I go, boy, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Picture it, Sicily, 1939.
What you talking about, Willis?
Won't you please won't you be my neighbor? Hey, neighbor.
Good afternoon, everybody.
What is everyone watching? I've recommended Jury Duty to about 12 different people.
Well, that fits. that tracks. Yeah, Jury Duty is where it's at. If you're not watching Jury Duty, you're lame. You're a loser.
I'm a loser.
This is on the
Cliff, you never did try it out?
No.
What's the matter with you?
I haven't watched much of anything here lately. I'll tell you what I was watching here in a few.
So this is on the free side of Amazon Prime, Amazon Freevee, which, you always go into that with a grain of salt. Like, how good can it be if it's on Freevee? But this was pretty good. So it's a fake reality show where there's only one person involved who doesn't know it's fake. And that's a pretty good setup. The classic Joe Schmo show. I know
it's a real Joe Schmo situation.
It is. I remember, I feel like Jesse has mentioned liking that show before.
Yes.
That would be a 5-star show for Jesse.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
So I
don't know. I don't know about that. Feels like a 4.
This was before the star system. This was 2003 on Spike TV. I remember I had 3 seasons this Joe Schmo did. It was like, the first one was Lap of Luxury. So it was just like a bunch of, living in a mansion, like all those, Who Wants to Be, or the Millionaire, Joe Millionaire, whatever those shows were back in the day. And season 2 was Last Chance for Love. That was like a dating show. And then the 3rd season, they went full out, and it was called Full Bounty. And it was like, Who Wants to Be a Bounty Hunter? And then so it was like physical challenges and like things to see who can be a bounty hunter. So I loved that show back in the day, and this gave me all those same feelings of how far can you push this? Will this guy ever catch on? How ridiculous? Reality shows on their surface are ridiculous. So how ridiculous can you get before it doesn't feel real?
Right. Oh, they got lucky a lot too. That things worked the way they did, and it's just a really good time. The cast of characters that they have are just at that right level of weird, and this guy, the biggest boon is the guy they got, just happened to luck out with this guy. They narrowed it down to him, and he is just the perfect person for this. Their original intention was not for it to go the way it did. It was the fact that this guy was so nice shaped the show. Like, they oh my gosh, no matter what we do, this guy is friggin' nice, and he's going to be nice about everything. And it's just like, oh, he comes out, looking like a hero just because of how, when you would everyone would love to be caught on candid camera looking like a great person. And
if you don't embarrass yourself. Right.
Right. Now, granted, he knows he's being filmed because the premise is that he's signed up. He's got jury duty, but do you want to do it and be part of a documentary type thing about the whole deal of going through jury duty, and you get paid a little bit more and stuff. So he's like, sure, I'll just do this. He's a easygoing guy, but it's really just him that's doing it, and everybody else is an actor. Everybody else is an actor, and including a famous actor, which adds extra spice to it because he does an excellent job, and it's in the art. So I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it's James Marsden,
who's just the right amount of fame.
Yes,
like he's not super like household name, but he's not too obscure. Like you would recognize him. Like, I know
just enough that this guy could be kind of embarrassing when he's like, "I'm not even sure. Were you in this?
You
that
were in
sucked."
Sex Drive, right?
There was about halfway through the season, they finally start pushing it. They're like, they can't believe they made it this far. Let's start pushing the envelope and see just where the line is, what we can get this guy to agree to. And he doesn't, he won't do everything. He's just like, nah, I don't think I'm not doing that. Or what, when the characters would ask him to help him out with stuff. But I there's nobody I wouldn't recommend it to. It's a breezy, good time. So definitely.
I didn't catch his name until the very end. I think the last episode they put his name on the screen. He was Alan Barinholtz.
Oh, is he related to Ike?
Something clicked in my head, and I looked it up to make sure. Yes, he is 72 years old. He's been a lawyer his whole life, and he is the father of Ike and John Barinholtz, the comedians.
Oh.
And Ike was on Seth Meyers months ago telling a story about his dad booking an acting job. And he was calling him a Nepo dad. And then he was like, he's doing it in reverse. And like,
oh my gosh.
And like how he'd retired, but he had taken acting classes in college. And so a friend of his
like George Gaines. I think George Gaines did that too.
Never heard of him. So some friend of Ike's reached out and said, hey, we're looking for people who can do improv and who are actual lawyers or judges. Would your dad be interested in trying out? So like he filmed a little audition for him and put him on tape, and he booked the job. And now he's got a SAG card and an agent, and the guy's like got a second career now. He's an actor. He was in the History of the World Part 2 that Barinholtz was the executive producer of. So I thought that was cool. Like,
yeah,
because I had heard that story months ago on a talk show. I was like, oh, that's this. Okay,
yeah,
connected. I loved it.
It's a good time. I definitely recommend it. I felt like at the end you got that satisfying breathing room. It didn't just abruptly end. You got some of them kind of getting to chat about different things that had happened and when they reveal it. So
because I had questions. I was like, how did this work?
Right.
And the end, usually
they were pretty transparent.
Usually you don't get an explanation of how it all works.
Yeah. So that transparency at the end was definitely what put it over the edge for me as being satisfying. So by all means, you must watch Jersey.
Oh, my biggest question, I had to do a little deep dive here because another actor on there is a guy named Kirk Fox, who I
would have recognized him right away.
Immediately. I'm like, that's Kirk Fox, right? 79 credits on IMDb. He's been in a million things. 6 episodes of Reservation Dogs. He's Kenny Boy on Reservation Dogs.
Yeah.
8 episodes of Parks and Rec. He was Sewer Joe, the guy who ran the sewer department in Parks and Rec. I'm like, this guy's well known. How is he not too famous for this? So I look on IMDb, and he might not be as famous as I projected to be.
But he's just always there.
So he was in one episode each of Curb Your Enthusiasm, NCIS, Reno 911, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Connors, The Goldbergs, Community, Deadwood. So he's been in, but just one episode. His number one known for, the IMDb known for, his number one listed on IMDb is The Postman, which was a big movie. Right. But he's credited as Gangly Recruit. So his most famous movie, he doesn't even have a name. So I started scrolling through IMDb, his other credits. He is credited as Patrolman, Landlord, Mechanic, LAPD Officer number 3, Sex Addict number 1, Bookie, Loan Shark, Creepy Guy, Carney, Vagrant. So this guy has a typecast as a tall, gangly, creepy guy. But all right, so he flew under this guy's radar somehow. He didn't recognize.
Right. He barely recognized James Marsden.
But yeah, everybody else in that show, I clicked on some link that was like, what you've seen them in, and everyone has done something. Everyone has a pilot or has been in a couple shows. So
good stuff.
I'm sure that was screened for how big a pop culture fan you are. Do you have a Hulu subscription? Would you recognize Kirk Fox?
Yep.
Wow. While you guys were watching that, I was watching Beef.
Yeah, I knew you were watching Beef.
On
we watched it. Did you watch it, Jordan?
Yes.
I watched it all.
Yes.
Yeah, we all watched it weeks ago.
Yes.
Amy, are you okay?
Yep.
I've been hustling my whole life.
Look where it's gotten me. Let's make it stop.
What is your problem? What?
Where you at?
What are you doing?
I have a very full life that I'd love to get back to. I'm gonna find you and take what little you have.
You're just a suburban housewife, and now you're stuck in a life you never wanted.
You have this serene Zen Buddhist thing going on.
Hey? I'm a dangerous guy. So stop messing with me and leave me alone, or else.
I would love to let this go, but actions have consequences.
I just can't understand what those people are so angry about.
Bitch-ass handyman pissing on my hardwood floor? This is European. Oh,
a while ago now, but yeah. What do you guys think? Was it?
This had a lot of buzz. People were really.
Yeah.
This is from A24, the very award-winning film studio.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't know if I was over the moon like the buzz was, but I did really enjoy it. The whole thing. So.
It was very up and down for me. The pace of it, like, I don't know. Took me a little while to get through it, but overall, I mean, because it starts out and I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know, but then it picks up a little bit. There's peeing on the floor and all that, and characters start getting intertwined between the two mains, and before
it definitely got weirder than the setup promised. Like.
Yes. Yeah, it got weird. That's for sure. But I overall I really had to see how it ended up.
This was the Netflix series Stephen Yun and Ali Wong. She is very well-to-do upper crust, and he is very low on the social ladder, just trying to get by. They get into a road rage incident. And you think, okay, this is going to be this battle of them getting back and forth at each other. It's going to be a class struggle. It's going to be male, female. It's going to be rich, poor. It's dealing with the Asian community, Asian American immigrants. And it is all that, but it's also some other things. It stretches in a few places.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that much to say. I don't want to give that much away for this one. I would say, if you got time, go watch it, because it's got a lot of little twists and turns there. And the minute I thought, oh, I think I'm done with this, something would happen. And I'm like, a couple more episodes. And it just bring me right back into it. So, but yeah, it's definitely different.
I thought it was a limited thing. I thought the end was the end. I thought it ended solid, but I saw the creator said he plans the show to last 3 seasons. So I don't know I don't know
That's
what else.
That's just because
it
was a hit. They kind of they were like, we'll probably do more. We will see. I wouldn't know where you'd go.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack. Had some of those songs from that era we don't always get, like Smashing Pumpkins and Bush, and like some of those like songs I know every word to. Incubus, some of those like late 90s, early 2000s alt rock hits. Like, okay, that's when you know the guy who made this is the same age as you. The quote I saw said it, quote, fully explores what it means to be hurt, what it means. Okay.
I was sitting there trying to think of another way to get you to do that. It just was natural.
Quote, fully explores what it means to hurt someone. So it's talking about strangers, coworkers, siblings, spouses, children. We all hurt other people, whether it's on purpose or accidentally. And this show is kind of exploring all those avenues of
and you never know what someone else is going through.
Right.
It's good. Dave's back.
Dave is back. Yes. Yeah. How's season 3 working for you?
I like it. I haven't seen the latest episode, but I'm digging it. I like all the episodes. I like how it keeps changing. It keeps becoming a different thing, different point in this character's life, which kind of makes the stories a little different. So it's good. I like Chloe Bennett. Is that her name that's on there now?
Yeah.
I like them playing off each other, and it's a good show. Still a good show.
I didn't know if I would like the Allie character being back on the show after season 1, but it's been fine. I've liked the episodes. I don't know that it'll ever get better than season 1.
Well, yeah,
but
that's peak TV you're talking about. There.
Yeah, but I've enjoyed most of these so far. So, and the one you haven't seen is the one he goes to the Met Gala.
Yeah, no, I saw.
And that's what I was thinking, looking back, like that season 1, there were cameos in it, but it was from these weird underground rappers no one's ever heard of. And now we've got cameos from most famous people on the planet. So like, where did this show like?
Yeah, no more Biff Whiff.
Yeah, no.
You want Biff Whiff? You gotta watch Jury.
Go to Jury, dude. But I wasn't sure how much I'd like this season of like dealing with fame, and oh no, I'm too famous, it hurts too much. But like they've kept it. It's still the problems he has, the insecurities that he has, the struggle between his close friends. So like it's still grounded enough, and it's still really funny. My favorite was the them stranded where the bus breaks down at those people's house. I think that's been the highlight of the season.
Yep, I agree.
I also like the video when they were making the second episode when they made the
Evolution of Man.
Yeah, that was cool. It's a good show. Love Dave. The latest thing I've been watching There probably is another episode I haven't watched yet. Is it Love and Death? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Love and Death.
Something's been bothering me a little. I have done all the things a wife is supposed to do. The house, the meals. Where is the payback? I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair?
You two just looked at each other like you got a secret. I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
It dropped 5 episodes immediately, but there's only 7.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just haven't seen the last one yet.
Well, I think there's 6 came out this week, and then 7.
I thought it was like 9 or something.
No, I looked it up. It's just 7. So I don't understand that strategy of kind of releasing some of them.
I don't know. Yeah, I watched. No, they dropped 3 at once. They did drop.
So 3. I didn't watch it right at the beginning.
Yeah, because I watched the first 3. This is the. What do they call? I'm blanking. What do they call these?
True crime.
Yeah, like where it's a. Man, I'm blanking on the word I'm looking for, but. It's their version of a true story, where
ripped from the headlines.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, Elizabeth Olsen's good as this housewife from the 70s who is involved in a very deadly circumstance, and they has to do with kind of cheating on your spouse and things like that, but she's really good. She kind of plays. I was saying to you guys that it's just kind of another version of Wanda from WandaVision, where she's just like the housewife that's just a little off. She's just kind of in her own zone, but she's great. That
weird like suburban. Everyone's a little too cheery.
Well, this community, the real community that this is based on was kind of it's Texas, right? Where they
Riley, Texas.
They went to these suburbs. I mean, these people were rich. They don't quite get across how rich these people were. The money that community was making on average would be the equivalent of like $250,000, salaries. So they had created like this own community to get away from the city, and have this like this nice, exactly the way they want their families to grow up in these communities and things, and deal with their churches and all that. And it's, and she's fully embedded in that, but needs a little spice in her life. So she decides to have an affair, and Jesse Plemons plays the guy that she gets in an affair with, and
the most irresistible man on the earth.
Exactly.
Not that he's not a handsome fellow, and he's a charming guy, but that kind of doughy, pale Lego helmet hair of the 70s. And
he's
she's
great.
like, I can't stop thinking about you.
Yes, I just want you to know that I just can't stop thinking. Anyway, it's really good. I think it's good, but they already did this on Hulu.
I just saw that today. It came out last year on Hulu.
Yeah. So it was 5 episodes. That was with Jessica Biel playing the character Candy. And I stopped after those first 3 episodes and watched those 5 episodes. Watched that whole series, and boy, the glaring difference between these 2 shows is Hulu. Everything is dark. It's like, I hate shows where you watch something and there's no lights on in anybody's house because they're going for this aesthetic. But it's like, nobody would stand in the dark and talk all the time. Come on. You would have lights on. And then HBO's aesthetic is lights on, baby. We got the lights on HBO to the max. And I thought it was good too. A little bit more believable guy she has an affair with in that show. But I would like to pick and choose each of the people playing it. You can't go without making a comment about Kristen Ritter's hair. I agree. Her hair is.
It took me out of every scene she was in because I was just staring at her hair.
It was something. Anyway, I thought it's pretty good. It's pretty good so far. Melanie Linsky is in the Hulu one, so she plays the other woman or whatever, the wife of that guy. So yeah,
and it was executive produced by David E. Kelly, which I honestly don't think he's one of the most successful TV guys of all time. Ally McBeal, Boston Legal, a million shows. I don't think I've ever watched the David E. Kelly show. So it's
good enough. I'm enjoying it. I think it started off stronger than how it's been going, but it's a fun little show. And I just, Elizabeth Olsen, she's right in her groove. This is a sweet spot for her. They cast it well to get her.
Yeah, I didn't even know that thing existed until you posted something in our messenger the other day. So I feel I started watching this show. It's pretty good. It's I didn't realize it's already into season 2. And I feel like, Seth, you may have watched this or talked about this, but it was I found it on Hulu called Single Drunk Female.
Single Drunk Female. That sounds familiar.
It's Sophia Black. I don't know how to say her last name. Black Delia?
Well, I don't think I have seen this.
Okay. It's got Ali Sheedy in it, and there's even a reunion a bit where Archie's mom shows up too to do a few scenes.
Wow, she's really fallen. She has fallen. If now she's known as Archie's mom.
Yes. So
wow.
But yeah, it's about this kind of 20 something girl who grew up in Boston, moved to New York. She's an alcoholic and kind of hits rock bottom type story and ends up in a program with a bunch of kind of eccentric characters and trying to put her life back together. And she finds out that her ex-boyfriend is now engaged and getting married to one of her very former close friends that she grew up with. It's got Lily Mae Harrington that plays. She's a friend of her, and she's really good in it. Plays a hairdresser by trade, and she's just kind of the best friend role in this, but she's super funny. But 2 seasons. We really enjoyed it. Alicia kind of got into it a little bit, and it was just something I picked that I had never heard of. And then after I watched it, I was kind of like, did Seth talk about this? I couldn't even remember. So anyways, yeah, we've really enjoyed it the last couple of weeks. So while you were watching that HBO show, apparently we were watching this show. So it's got a kind of, I was just going to say, it's to end it. It's got a really nice dynamic. Ali Sheedy's really good in it. She plays her mom, and that dynamic between the mother and daughter is feels very real at times. They're both kind of broken and almost resent each other for it. So anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
was gonna say, I think the best thing I've watched these last couple of weeks turned out to be the Muppets.
Agreed.
I thought it was great. The Muppets Mayhem.
The Mayhem? They taught Motley Crue how to shred and party. They tattooed their name on me when I was passed out. What? These guys go hard. I was in college the first time I saw the Mayhem play.
I grew up idolizing Dr. T. I bought gold grills just to be like him.
Say cuckoo-cuckoo.
Well, we got a little sidetracked by the 80s.
For sure.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm Nora Singh from Waxtown Records. I would love to help you make an album.
Well, all right.
All right.
What's happening?
I think Animal digs you.
I dig the animal as well.
I've been waiting my entire life for an Electric Mayhem album. Finally, somebody is making it happen.
Okay, it begins.
How about you?
Very good, Animal.
Let's say we bring the old school.
And you bring the new.
How about a hot music collab, huh?
I think Animal's all ready to lay down our drum track.
That was perfect.
What? What?
I don't think the band is digging any of this.
It is so hot, I'm gonna pass out.
You feeling this?
We did it.
See? Happy.
They're always happy. Watch. Hey, guys, look. I got a fork.
You did it.
You showed us there's a whole world beyond the Mayhem.
It's trending. You did this.
With one tweet, you started beef with all of music.
And our vengeance shall be swift.
I like this show. Lots of drama.
Let's get back to you doing what you do best. I'm ready to roll with it.
Well, good, because we're ready to rock with it. We're gonna rock!
Welcome to the Mayhem.
Rock on! We're more than just a band, we're a family. All right.
Electric Mayhem. Is that a vacuum?
Thank you.
Doesn't get any weirder than that, am I right?
You know it.
See this camera? Okay, do not look into this camera. Action.
Look at that, a cliffhanger.
Disney Plus is gonna love this.
Everybody watch!
I'm a huge Muppets fan. I loved them growing up, had the soundtrack on vinyl, and watched the Muppet Show and loved Muppet Babies. But modern Muppets haven't really done much for me. Like, I've watched the Muppets Haunted Mansion and some of these specials they've done, and they're cute, they're fine. The ABC sitcom, the documentary sitcom was decent, but it's never had that magic. But I felt like this one did. Something about this one clicked and really worked for me. Co-written and co-produced by Adam Goldberg from the Goldbergs, famous for his fandoms that align with ours. But 10 half-hour episodes following the Electric Mayhem, the band. That's the classic.
They were the house band on the Muppet Show.
Band,
yeah.
Right. So not a mockumentary. I thought maybe it would be a behind the music kind of a deal or a tour. It was more of a sitcom. Like it had each episode was its own thing, but it had a full story. It felt like a very cohesive tale, but broken up into these half-hour episodes. And the gags were good. The jokes were good. Ton of celebrity cameos. I got teary at a couple points. Like, it just all worked for me. It was Muppets. It was Muppetastic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it was wonderful. We binged it in 2 days, and I could not wait just to get to the next episode to see what was going to happen next. And it always, the modern stuff, it always sounds a little funny to me at first. Just because I have those voices so ingrained.
Yeah, the voices are the tough part for me.
But
they're not right.
Right. They're not right. But I actually thought they did this is one of the better replacement voice casts. I thought it didn't throw me out of it. and especially Dr. Teeth, that could be a tough one. Of course, that was Jim Henson, based on Dr. John, that character. So, but yeah, I just it was all I wanted it to be. Super Muppets fan, and I'm hoping maybe, because other than like the Muppets with Jason Segel in the last, like you said, how decades now, how much of it has really been good? I like that Muppets Haunted Mansion. I thought honestly, I thought it was really good, but that seems to be the exception more than it is what we normally get. And this thing, I just loved all the characters like they were, right out of the Muppet Show. And so I'm hoping that this starts something. It'll grab an audience and be popular enough to where they can, even if they just do it on television, I would be fine with this type of thing. Almost doing like a Muppet verse almost, start with the Electric Mayhem and move on to another character.
Did you see that quote from Goldberg? He said that was his intention, was like a Star Wars or a Marvel verse to like build.
Yeah, and that's totally how it feels to me. It was just so, like such a good story, and knowing these characters, I didn't feel like I had to relearn them. They were just who they were supposed to be, even though it's, they call it out and it's all these years later and what they've been up to, and it's ridiculous, but that's what the Muppets are.
And it's PG, family friendly, but like still funny. Like it wasn't too dumbed down, it wasn't too sweet, it still had a little bit of edge to it. Like while even these characters, they're relentlessly hopeful and friendly and kind to each other, like, but yeah, there's still tension in the band, and I don't know, it worked. The story worked for me, and the jokes and the music, even some of the new songs were pretty good. So yeah, and some crazy references, some real deep cut references that I caught. So I'm sure I missed some other ones, but like River Bottom Nightmare Band, and like,
immediately,
some
we're not birds, we're a jug band.
Yeah.
So all the things you expect.
Really, really good stuff. I love the theme song. Immediately, I was like, damn it, this should have, why couldn't this have come out when we were doing the theme song bracket? I would have put it in there. By probably the third episode, I'm singing right along word for word on it. I was like, man, I can't wait. I love this theme song. I'm not skipping through that. So yeah, it's wonderful.
I'll have to check it out. I put it on and watched like 2 minutes and then fell asleep, but I will try her again.
Totally worth the time. That's saying a lot in this TV lately. Now, Lord knows what we're going to get the rest of the year with this writer's strike anyway, so
it's going to F up. It's going to F up the next few years.
Yeah. So take your time. Rather than, I'd much rather watch something like this and get it a little later than force myself into some crappy reality terrible show that The Bachelor or something that I could care less
You could watch Jury Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, is that it? Wrap it up.
Yeah.
We need to wrap up Mandalorian season 3, correct?
Yes.
We were right on the ball, right on target, but we missed a couple weeks. So thank you for being patient with us.
I have one note. I have the word Mandalorian right there, and under that, all it says is Skinny Pete. He was in it. Did you see Skinny Pete in there? Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad.
Oh no, I didn't recognize.
Yeah, he was in there very prominently.
All right, so we left off. We just talked about the 6th episode, so we need to talk about season 3, episode 7, chapter 23, The Spies. All right. Does anybody remember anything about what was going on?
No.
Just skinny.
The spies. I remember everybody was trying to figure out who was the traitor, who was the spy that was going to betray the Mandalorians, and everybody. Well, I don't say everybody, but most people thought
I wasn't thinking about it.
It was going to be the Armor or Axe Woves.
And I'm going to try to burn through this. Stop me at any point to throw in the thoughts or opinions. Episode kicks off with Elia Kane on Coruscant, she's now apparently a Blade Runner because everything was neon and rainy, and she was wearing a long coat. And she meets a probe droid in an alleyway and gets a Moff Gideon hologram where it drops that he knew about those pirates on Navarro. So something's going on. Somebody's the spy. All right, so we get the Shadow Council meeting of bad dudes. So these are the leaders of the surviving Imperial factions.
Yes.
So they're talking about the New Republic is vulnerable. So these are the guys gonna bring back the Empire and take it down. So there are a couple of familiar faces. Captain Pelion from the pre-Disney Star Wars universe, who was reintroduced in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So he insists that the Imperials just have to wait until Grand Admiral Thrawn returns to mark the grand return of the Imperial military. So he's throwing breadcrumbs, I think, for the next series coming out. We also had in that room Brindle Hux.
Daddy Hux.
Father of General Armitage Hux, who's Donald Gleason in the sequel trilogy. And he says they just have to wait until he can complete Project Necromancer, which involves cloning and ensuring there will be someone to lead the Empire in the future.
What?
And somehow Palpatine came back.
Right.
Yeah.
So that seems an obvious setup for Palpatine.
Snoke.
I saw people saying Snoke as well, like some version of cloning that leads us to Snoke. Again, we're filling in holes that the trilogy didn't really bother with explaining.
Important plot details.
Right. So neither of those guys is happy that Gideon is diverting resources away from their schemes, and he's not really telling anyone why. So there's some the Shadow Council. There's a little bit of a crack forming in the bad guys. So Gideon is granted reinforcements to stop the Mandalorians once and for all. They all say, "Long live the Empire," and that's that. So the Mando fleet arrives in Navarro. They have a meeting of the Mandos, and someone needs to prepare a feast. They're going to feast. We get a gift of a IG-12 skeleton that can be piloted, but like a mech by Grogu, with a yes and a no button for good measure. So that was just the best, wasn't it?
I did not, on no planet did I see that coming.
No. Bad baby, no squeezy.
That was so ridiculous in a good way. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, I just never saw it coming. So when they brought it in, I was like, oh my God, they are not going to do this. They're going to put that kid in there.
But it solved the problem. Like, he either had to be in that little carriage or he had to be carried. Like,
I loved it.
Much better carriage. This is a much cooler carriage. This is how I want to go through Galaxy's Edge. Just put me in one of those.
Yes.
You want to make a lightsaber? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was that was pretty sweet. I was digging that. I thought that was ultimate cuteness, like that cuteness overload when that happened. I told somebody at work, I was like, "There's something that happens, like that's about peak cuteness."
All right, so they move the whole fleet to orbit Mandalore, but there's like this interference in the atmosphere, so they have to send a small team down to explore the surface. All right. They run into a few scavenger Mandos who recognize Bo-Katan. These guys were survivors of the Night Owls clan who have refused to surrender, just like Bo-Katan taught them. And they say, we knew you would not forsake us. That was Skinny Pete?
Yes. I'm going to send you a picture.
We knew you would not forsake us. We failed you, but our blasters remain in your service. Now, why didn't they have Badger be the other one? That would have been.
I was waiting the whole freaking time.
Stunt casting.
I was waiting.
So these dudes have just been on the surface of Mandalore, right? Just waiting for Bo to come back. So this is where we learn that she surrendered to Gideon on the grounds that he spare the planet. So this is why he had the Darksaber in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
She, to save lives, she surrendered the planet to him. And of course, he betrayed her and purged the planet anyway.
Why anyone would want to live on this godforsaken planet, I don't know.
So they're debating again. The Mandos, quote, "We're too powerful to defeat. Our own division destroys us." So they're trying to bring them together. We need to have one culture, one clan, one goal. At some point, Axe fights Paz Vizsla.
On the boat.
For reasons.
For reasons.
Too long ago. Grogu breaks it up saying, no.
They were playing chess or, bounty hunter.
Whatever that
something.
is.
Yeah.
Is that anything like Chewbacca chess?
I don't know. But they were playing it and they got in a fight over it. No.
Right.
So Bo, I think, is a little shook after meeting these dudes and having to relive this trauma. But our hero's name is Din. That's right, Din. He says, "I serve you. Your song is not yet written. I will serve you until it is." So this is like, she wasn't feeling like a leader, or she didn't deserve to be in charge of these people, but here's Din literally handing off like, I got your back. I am serving you. All right, so they go off to the forge, trying to find the forge. Some giant rock Godzilla attacks them, and they have to abandon ship. I don't remember that was that important, but okay. They find the ruins of the Great Forge. And while they're there, Imperials with jetpacks ambush them. They're using Mandalorian resources and Beskar for a next-gen Dark Trooper. So the plan is all coming together.
Imperial Super Commandos.
Right. So we learn Gideon, every society has something to offer. He wants to take the best of each one to bring order to the galaxy. So, resources of the Empire, the Jedi, the Mandalorians. He wants to, make super troopers. So the Praetorian Guard show up, and Paz has to cover their escape.
That was so dumb.
He holds the door.
So dumb.
Is that what?
Well, I mean, like, he had his chance to leave. And he's like, no, I'll stay here and fight the whole squad.
That is such a trope. They do that. Yeah. Everything does that. It's like, I'll stay behind. Don't wait. It's like every time. It's like, while you're saying that, you could have left.
Yeah. Must use masculine urge to fight an army.
So things aren't going well. Din is taken to the debriefing room, and a fleet of ships are being launched to destroy the Mandos up in orbit. We learned it was Moff Gideon all along. So everything that's happened this season was part of his grand scheme. All this stuff, these side missions and the pirates and all the stuff, the doctor, the cloning stuff. It was, everything mattered. It was all part of the plan. I felt like he wasn't the same character he was last season. Like, he felt so over the top. He was twirling his mustache and like, ha ha ha, my grand plan has arrived. Like, he just seems such a...
Well, he didn't even have his mustache anymore.
Yeah, he didn't have it because, and that was a point of contention. Like, you know, we see the clones and they don't have mustaches, and then we see him and he doesn't have it, and everybody's going, "Oh my God, he's not really dead. It was a clone." And I'm like, please no. Like, somehow Moff Gideon has returned. I don't want that. Like,
it makes all of this stuff never matter. Every time you bring somebody back, it doesn't matter. I'll let people die.
Yeah.
When I die, let me die. I want to sleep.
And at this point, he becomes another Darth Vader cosplayer. Like, he's got his dark suit on and his voice is getting deeper.
Yeah.
So it's a lot like, what's his face? All right. So the next episode was the finale of this season, chapter 24, The Return. This was a lot of action, not quite as much plot.
That's some pretty cool action, though. I dug the fight scenes with the Imperials and with the jetpacks fighting all the Mandalorians, and like the armor. She doesn't even use a gun. She's still got her hammer and her pincers, and she's out there kicking ass. Like, it's pretty cool.
All right, so the Mandos are still on the run. They've captured the dangerous Din, and 2 guards escort him down a hallway, which seems like a terrible plan. He just flamethrowers them and then goes to rescue Grogu. Or Grogu rescues him. I forget. It was a while ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Grogu gets trapped in the room with the
guard.
The guards. Yeah.
Guard, right,
yeah.
Right.
And then,
he gets trapped under a pipe.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, they could sneak out, but they can't keep running. You have to take out Gideon or it'll never end. Another trope we've become familiar with. At this point, R5 sneaks into the base and gets the schematics that they need. Again, coming through in the clutch, R5. So Bo-Katan sends Axwoves ahead to warn the fleet that TIE fighters are coming. And he blasts up into atmosphere. So they're going to use the capital ship as a decoy, bring everyone down to the planet's surface for reinforcements, and then attack. At that moment, they're attacked by the TIE fighters. Down on the planet, Din, all these barrier shields are up. So he has to take them down one at a time and fight these guys. I thought that was a cool scene. And
that was cool.
Barrier he gets through picks up a different weapon. So he's like, very video gamey. He's equipping himself as he goes. So that's what R5's busy helping take down the barrier shields. And he gets attacked by the mouse droid. So the little mouse droid beeps at him and zaps him and brings reinforcements. And again, another little cute scene. Then we get to the cloning vats, and we see it's all these Gideon duplicates that have been being cloned. So they blow them up, of course. And then they have to hide in these caves. So there's all this vegetation on the planet that we thought was completely destroyed. So there is life sustaining on this planet. And that's when all the Mando reinforcements arrive from the ships up above. And Bo says, "Let's take back our planet." So she charges forward with the Darksaber, leading the charge, and they have a big sky clash with all these dark troopers. So that's where the action really kicks in. Gideon is crying about his dead clones. That he was isolating potential to use the Force, incorporating it into an unstoppable army, and you smothered them before they could draw their first breath.
Which takes us back to that season 1, why he wanted Grogu in the first place. So,
right. So we get to fight Din fights Gideon and the Praetorian guards. Grogu says no, and the three attack him. Din and a little help from the Force kill the guards, which I liked. I thought the Force, Grogu using the Force very believably, like he just moved the weapon just out of reach, or kind of pushed someone a few. Like he wasn't Luke Skywalker. He wasn't flipping around using a lightsaber. Like he within his ability, he turned the tide of the battle. So that's where Bo-Katan shows up, and she takes on Gideon. Says surrender or fight, and he ends up breaking the Darksaber, which seems like a big deal, right?
Yeah, well, who knows what the deal is? Are they just going to make it again, or what are they going to do?
And he says Mandalorians are weak once they lose their trinkets. And she says Mandalorians are stronger together. And that's when Din joins the fight, and they both take him on. Meanwhile, Axe is just going to ram the ship into the base. Because the ties have damaged the ship pretty bad, so he's just going to wreck it all.
That's a borderline Holdo maneuver.
Right. I was apparently
one in a million
notes, and I wasn't looking, so he escaped. I missed where he escaped. I thought he died when they crashed it in there, but I guess there was a scene where he jumped out of the thing. So the ship explodes. The whole base is engulfed in flame, but Grogu does the hand thing, and he holds it all back.
And it's been so long, but I feel like each of the three of them were protecting each other the way they did it. It's like all three of them were taking part in the protection. Like somebody's got, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Well, I remember
thinking it was he's doing that, but somebody else has like the shield up or something.
Yeah, Bo had her
shield. They were like all just huddled there in a way that looked cool.
But it was a very Kanan Jarrus. We'd seen him do that before.
That's what I'm
from Rebels.
Exactly.
Yeah. With fire holding it back, and while everybody else, escapes. And
yep, that was some Freddie Prinze Jr. stuff if I ever seen it.
So the whole place blows up, and we have to assume Moff Gideon's dead, but we don't see a body.
Exactly.
We skip ahead to the ceremony at the Living Waters for Ragnar. He's gonna take a dip in the waters. That was Paz's kid, right? Was this
just like we started the season with that.
Nepo Kimmel.
Yeah. Nepo nephew.
Right. And Grogu is declared an apprentice, no longer a foundling. He is adopted. Din adopts him as his own, names him Din Grogu, Mandalorian apprentice. And as is some rule we just learned about, they must leave now and go have journeys.
This was it was so weird how they ended this season. It was like, let's go for ultimate tied up happy ending.
Right.
Like, what is happening?
It felt like the end of a series is what
this could have been a good finale, but they're setting up more, of course.
It's crazy.
So at the ceremony, we get the sense that Grogu can sense the mythosaur. His connection to animals. And Bo-Katan relights the Great Forge. So the Mandos are back. They're back in business. We cut to a New Republic bar, and Captain Teva is hanging out, the X-Wing pilot. And Din has a business proposition for him. He's going to hunt down Imperial remnants as an independent contractor.
Such a video game. Yeah.
He doesn't want to work for the Empire, he doesn't want to work for the New Republic, but he'll do jobs for him.
He's a bounty hunter by trade.
Right, so he decides to take payment with a head of a droid. There's an IG head up in this bar, and he's going to use that as payment. So we get a reborn IG-11 as the new marshal of this town. back on Navarro. Din has a deed to a cabin that he was promised.
Of course he does.
And the season ends kicking back on the front porch.
Yeah.
Grogu juggling some frogs.
Creaking screen door.
Right, that's how we end it.
Funky! Don't eat the frogs.
So there was no kind of post-credit scene. That was the end. I get that. To me, that would, he's home on the farm with his kid. Like that would be a perfect finale. But they've already confirmed a 4th season. But again, I'm okay with that. Like this last season was super heavy in the lore of the animated series that I'm not familiar with, and catching all that stuff up. So if they, if their prerogative is they must leave Mandalore and go have more galaxy-spanning adventures, they're basically told go have another season of the show. That's how you handle an apprentice. Like I'm okay with that. Going back to the more of the Western story of the week stuff. That's cool.
I kind of feel like in the story of the week is not always going to be them. It's going to be. I think it's going to be more separated.
Right.
They're not going to be up the other Mandalorians' butts anymore. Those people might have their own episodes.
Yeah.
So that's fine with me.
I really like the idea that Dave Filoni just hangs out in a Star Wars bar, having drinks all the time.
He's gonna buy that. He's gonna buy that hotel.
Yeah. So
live right there.
Anybody else sit around waiting for Boba Fett to make an appearance during this?
No.
Not really.
I kept waiting on it. I thought for sure he'll show up at the last minute to blow something up or rescue somebody, but nope.
Oh, that's so Boba Fett.
That's the next season. That's so.
That's so Boba Fett.
But so yeah, we had a great ending. Everybody's where they need to be, and then immediately the talk online is, all right, so did Moff Gideon die, or was that a clone who died? And it's like that did definitely suck away some of the closure, because now everyone's going to expect more Giancarlo Esposito, and like I don't know that we need anymore. Like his story is done.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, it was good. Leave it alone.
And then I saw the idea is Snoke actually Gideon? Like he was injured, his head gets caved in or whatever, he gets mutated somehow, or he's some twisted clone. Like this could have been the origin of Snoke somehow. I'm like, I don't know that we need any of that. But.
Not everything has to fit together like that.
But overall, I enjoyed the season, so I'm much less familiar with all that Mando stuff, Darksaber stuff, Night Owl stuff. I have no background in that, and I still felt like I knew what was going on and wasn't missing too much. So that's good for a show that's able to do that, to pay off this stuff for the super fans and still be entertaining.
Yeah,
just as a week-to-week show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed season 3. I thought it was as somebody that has watched a lot of that Clone Wars and Rebels and all that, got me really excited about the Ahsoka series coming out here, and getting that more of the Ghost crew and all those characters live action. So and I think they could still do a lot of fun stuff with another season of The Mandalorian, of them just out having adventures. I'm all for that. They don't have to stick around Navarre and Dave Filoni's bar or anything like that. They can just go out and fight more Pizza the Hutts and whatnot.
Yeah. More Pizza the Hutts. I agree. I vote for that.
Yeah.
Dig it. All right. Thank you for your patience. We got to talk about all of that. And we'll be back soon with more. Check out all our Facebook pages.
Patreon.
And our Patreon for some fun bonus material for only $1 a month for your support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, my name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye. Forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share. I think so. The only other thing I was going to talk, I got distracted in the beginning of the show. I was going to mention this past weekend. I had a really busy weekend. By the time this episode comes out, it'll time will have passed a little bit, but we went, we had that concert, in Cleveland last Friday night. Took my daughter and her cousin. They're both, the same age, and we went to see Lizzo, which was a lot of fun and, really good show. Lotto was the opening act. She put on a great show, but my wife, Alicia, was immediately questioning. She's like, should we have brought kids to this? And I was like, oh no, it's fine. They're 16 years old. They've heard nothing new here. They haven't heard before. But it was funny because as we were driving up to Cleveland Friday night, there was mention of the tickets and the seats, and I said, I asked Alicia, I said, are you going to be okay? Because our seats are kind of high, and they were not cheap in price at all. But the floor tickets, of course, were going for like $500. So little did we know how high we were going to be up there. We were up in Loudville. If you've ever been to a Cavs game or anything, way up there. 3 rows remained behind us from the ceiling. So I am looking eye to eye at the Cavaliers championship banners, which was pretty cool. I took a couple pictures. I was like, that's awesome. Even if we're up this high, but as we started up the steps, Alicia, I could tell she was like, oh, immediately, like I didn't realize how straight of an angle this would be down. Because she's scared of heights and tends to freak out on ladders and anything like that. And we were really high up there.
Oh, people would just crowd surf you all the way down.
Right. It wouldn't take much, and you'd be in for a ride. But yeah, no, sometimes when you go to these concerts, sometimes, when you get those crappy seats, the shows can be even more fun. Just being up there, we're up there with the other poor people and just having a good time, and everybody's just jamming out and enjoying it. But it was funny. We had seats like 3 through 6, and there were 2 20-something women. I was in seat 3, so they were sitting right next to me. And before the show kind of started, the one kind of leans over and she goes, "Do you mind if I ask you a question?" I was like, "Yeah, what?" And she goes, "You don't look like the normal demographic for this show." She's like, "Did somebody drag you here?" She goes, "Because you don't," she goes, and she was right. It was mostly females at this show, by a large margin. I was definitely in the minority, but she goes, you're not female. You don't look to be gay. she goes, "Why are you here?" And I was like, well, I like Lizzo too. I said, we brought, teenagers with us. She's like, "Oh, okay. I get it. But, as far as the show itself, it was pretty cool. It was, sometimes it's fun to put ourselves in situations, that we're not used to or familiar with. And the positivity of this show was amazing. The women, the girls of all ages, I saw grandmas there. I saw little kids there. I saw some crazy outfits. But they were it was just all so supportive and positive and full of good things that I really enjoyed that part of it. That we came out after it was all over and just there was no hostility in that arena. It was amazing. So that was a really good thing. Spent the night in Cleveland, and then the next day we got up, slept in just a little bit, got up and drove to Columbus, Ohio. So we had a room there in Columbus downtown, in that little neighborhood we like so much by the Columbus Convention Center, because my daughter had her, the big volleyball tournament was on Sunday, so we had a day to spend in Columbus and enjoying the things we like to do there. We did all the stuff I've mentioned before. We drove straight to Dirty Frank's for lunch. We had some Dirty Frank's hot dogs. The girls hadn't been there before, and they absolutely loved the food. We had a few really good drinks, and moseyed on over next door to that 16-bit arcade I've mentioned before in past episodes. Alicia and I relaxed, had a few more drinks. I sent you guys pictures. I was playing they have all the vintage stand-up arcade games. So played X-Men until I beat it, which is a lot easier when you don't have to, fill it full of quarters. And we went there. We played some Turtles in Time with the girls. Had a great time. They had a lot of fun there. So we did that, and then our hotel was right down the street, right, actually attached to the convention center. So we got checked in there. Went down to Big Fun. I love Big Fun, the store. And of course it was a weekend, so it was really busy and tons of people in there. But I had an idea. I wanted to go shop. I was looking for either a complete vintage Jabba playset or the Max Rebo band. That's what I was looking for, shopping for. I thought for sure, that'd be the place to get it. So I went down. They had a really nice Jabba. It was complete, except it was missing the little collar that attaches to the string. If anybody had that way back in the day, which of course is not a cheap piece to come across if you can find it. And so I debated on that for a little while, talked to the owner, decided to go against that. He made me an offer on a vintage, Biker Scout and speeder bike that I couldn't resist. So I did pick that up and some beater figures, for fun, and thanked him, for acknowledging our podcast. In the episode talked about, the last time I went down there, and, he said, "Oh yeah." He said, "What show was that?" And I told him, Ka-Pow, and he says, "Oh, I remember that. I remember that post." And he thanked us for mentioning them and free advertising and this and that. So, they are, I caught a little bit of a conversation. They're trying to help promote the upcoming PowerCon that's coming back to Columbus here in, I believe, August this year. So went to that last year with our buddy Russ and my son. I think we're going to go back this year. Just had an absolute ball there last year. Seth, you stopped by there, last year. And, so we did that. And, what else did we do? We did a lot of food. We had a little bit of time, so we wanted to snack, after we had hot dogs. And so we walked over to North Market. I said, "Hey, let's go get some ice cream." And stopped by the little ice cream booth, had a bunch of different flavors. and they had a little sign that said, "Hey, you can get an ice cream flight, like a flight of beer, taste the different flavors." And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And so I walked up there. I said, "Hey, I think I want. We're gonna get one of those ice cream flights." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Do you want all the flavors that come with it, or do you want to switch them out?" And I'm like, "I don't know. How many can I switch out?" And he goes, "Well, you get 10." And I thought, oh, little cups of ice cream. That's a lot of tasting, 10 different flavors. And it ended up being 10 full scoops of ice cream. So the four of us shared 10 scoops of ice cream for our snack, ate every bit of it. It was wonderful. And then went back to the hotel, met up with my parents who had come up for the tournament. Stopped down at Mikey's Late Night Slice. Took them for the first time. We did it all. We did all the food. Always good. Always excellent. Enjoyed that. The girls loved Mikey's. Carly's been there before a couple times. She knew what to expect, but they were digging the music, and having a good time. Enjoyed the pizza, and we did all the things and had the big tournament Sunday. Over 100 courts playing at once. Last year, Carly's team, she played with some different girls for the most part. We were all the way down in the kryptonite bracket last year. Ended up going to the end in the kryptonite bracket, but this year fared much better. We knew we were placed somewhere between the gold and copper bracket, which is, gold's the highest. Had a pretty good day, played some really tough teams, regional teams 16 and under, and ended up at the end tournament time in the bronze bracket. And they won the bronze bracket. Came in second. We got silver in the bronze bracket. Got down to the very last game, and our starting middle got hurt. Was out there on one ankle, kind of took the momentum away from us. But man, they played great. Had an absolute wonderful time. Such a great group of girls, and the coaches. Might be probably going to be the last time that group plays together. So they were full of tears at the end, but so excited. We went, her team went from 44th in the region ranking in one day all the way to the 18th. We finished 18th in the Ohio Valley region, which covers Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and jumped up over 24 spots. And man, it was a great day. So happy for her. She's still excited. She got her medal. Best we've ever finished. And just really positive weekend, but man, I was tired afterwards. By the time we got home,
how do you eat that much food and then go play competitive?
Oh man, I tell you, those girls, I hand it to them. They put the effort into it. But it was so much fun. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to get to do that this year, because I haven't always been able to go to the OVRs, which are a big deal when you spend months and months playing and practicing and all the work that goes into it. And it finally paid off this year. So super exciting. Go check it out. If you're going to a con, Columbus, Animate. What's that one coming up here soon? Animate, the Columbus Convention Center, put on by the same people that do GalaxyCon, correct?
Yep.
So that's coming up pretty soon. PowerCon's coming up this summer, and then GalaxyCon will be in the fall. So lots of fun things to look forward to. I can't wait to get up there again and do all that stuff.
Did Lizzo bring Grogu with her?
I thought she would for sure. She did not.
Play a flute?
There was a lot of flute playing. Guys.
I would ask for my money back if there weren't.
So